Hello everybody, my name is Jill and this is my second career post for my Family 150 class for BYU Idaho. The career profile that I chose for this week was a mental health licensed therapist. The organization that I got my example from is a company called LifePath Systems. It's an MHMR facility, so it's an outpatient facility for people that are suffering mental illness. The contact that I actually got a hold of, her name was Tammy. She's actually the director. She used to be a licensed therapist, and she still is, but now she oversees all the doctors, all the therapists, the support staff, everybody in the building, and she kind of makes it flow. So she was a really good contact for me to be able to talk to. The working environment for the facility, I would say that it would be considered more of a small organization because it is just a county-run mental health facility, but their hours are normal, just like every other work environment would be. It's Monday to Friday from 8 to 5. They do have a doctor and a therapist that come in at 7:30 sometimes, so it works a little better for other people's schedules. The hours can be flexible for the therapist, though. It just kind of depends. They usually can skip their lunch breaks, but they have to make sure that every hour that they're there, that they're using it to bill hours, because it is funded by the state, so every hour counts. When I asked her, when she would, looking at it from a therapist point of view and not a director point of view, she said that the stressors that would be put onto a therapist would probably be their patient load, because I think there are so many people that come through that facility at a time. I know that last year they got all the way up to 5,000 patients that they were seeing, so that definitely was a huge stressor for the caseworkers. But also on top of that, keeping on schedule and keeping on time, because sometimes you don't want to feel like you're cutting someone off, but you do have to keep your appointment within that amount of time that was scheduled, or you're going to run behind for your next patient, which isn't fair. And they have to make sure that they're documenting each session and what's going on so that they can have their notes updated, because I think they only have, I think it was 48 hours is what she said. They just changed it. So she said that they used to give them 72 hours to update their notes, but now it's only 48 hours to make sure everything's completed. A common task of a licensed therapist there would be counseling the clients, definitely with coping any mental illness that they may be having at the time. They treat for the three big diagnoses mainly at that facility, so bipolar, schizophrenia, and depression are what they deal with. In children, they also counsel like for ADD and ADHD, but they don't usually medicate for that until they turn to age 5, and then it's up to the psychiatrist, but they can start counseling at the age of 3. And another stressor is just seeing the clients, like just that on its own, because there are so many different things that come along with their struggles, and that they have to realize that they can't take the client's problems home with them, that they need to leave them at work. And they also need to make sure that their notes are updated on time, because the doctor does refer back to those while they're seeing the client and while they're making their own notes and trying to assess whether or not a certain medication would be proper to continue or discontinue for that client. The education that's required to be a mental health counselor, you do have to have your bachelor's, but you also have to go get your master's in counseling to be able to counsel the mental health field. Now, the salary range I thought was pretty interesting. There was actually an article that came out not too long ago that they had posted actually in their break room when she walked me around, and I saw it, and it had like the 10 careers that take the most schooling that get paid the less, and a mental health counselor was actually number 1. Their starting pay is $30,000, just like everybody else, but their top pay I know at this facility was $50,000, and most people don't even get to there. I got the chance to sit down and speak with another therapist there. Her name was Jamie, and she actually speaks Spanish and had her master's degree, and she was only getting paid like, well, I can't really say, but she was getting paid under the $50,000. So it just kind of depends on facility where you go to, and definitely if you go to work probably for yourself, if you had your own practice, which you would need to have your PhD for that, you could definitely have a little bit more money, that's for sure. Some other information that they have about that facility is that they have this program called the ACT program, which is for the clients that need a little bit more attention. They're the ones that are in the hospital a little bit more, that need constant supervision, that need rides to go get their groceries, to their appointments. If they have court dates, they take them there. So I thought that was pretty cool that they offered those services to the clients that seemed to be struggling a little bit more. A really good resource that led me to this facility was actually their website. It's super informative, and it's actually just www.lifepathsystems.org. If you take a minute to go on there and look through there, they don't just treat for mental health, which I thought was really cool. It's a facility that also handles, they have like an ECI and an IDD department, and the ECI is for early childhood intervention. So the kids that have speech therapy problems and things like that, they help them. They see them from ages 1 to 3. And then their IDD program is for the intellectually developmentally delayed clients, so children with autism, Down syndrome. They see them as well, and if they're dual diagnoses, so they are autistic, but they also have like bipolar, schizophrenia, or depression, they also treat them as well, which I thought was really awesome because not a lot of people have the time or the patience to sit there and say, okay, well, I'm going to help this poor client that's autistic, but they're also bipolar, which you would think would happen, but it happens a lot more than you would really think, according to Tammy. But that was my second career profile that I looked into, and it was a really interesting one to me and definitely made me think a little bit more about where I want my degree to take me. So I would encourage you to go and visit their website and see maybe if it's something that you would be interested in. That's it.